One of the things you can do with a Google form is you can actually create a self-graded quiz. So I'm going to start a brand new form to show you how to do that. I'm just going to call it quiz, keep it real simple. So we're going to start by looking at the settings. This is something we looked at earlier, but we ignored the quiz section. So let's take a look at those now. First thing you need to do is toggle this on, make it a quiz, and then here are some options. The first area is releasing the grade. This is going to let them know what they got right away. If you're only doing multiple choice questions, then you can choose this option because you can set it up so that it will grade it automatically and it'll tell them how they did right away. If you're going to include some short answer questions that you have to grade yourself, then you should switch it to later after manual review, because that means that Google will grade some of them and then you'll grade some others, and then you will approve the grade. So I'm going to choose this one for now because I'm going to show you a self-graded quiz. When the respondent gets their score, you can choose to show them which questions they missed. You can also give them the correct answers if you want, and tell them what the point values were. So I'm going to deselect correct answers so that they can see which ones they missed and how many points, but they can't see the correct answers right away. But you could deselect all of these and basically just give them the score and then maybe go over the quiz some other time. So I'll save those options. So the first thing that I'm going to put in here is a name field. I'm going to have last name first. This changed automatically to short answer because Google just sort of is used to this and they recognize it. Then I'll duplicate the question and I'll put first name. It's a good idea to separate these so that there'll be different fields when you receive everything. And then underneath it, I'm going to put a title and description. I'm just going to put directions here. I'm just going to write answer the questions. Obviously, you can put whatever directions you want. This is just to show you how that would work. So let's take a look at what we have so far. So they put their name, and then you give them directions, and then we would be ready for the questions. So let's go ahead and add a question. I'm going to click Add Question. We'll stick with the multiple choice. And now if this were a normal form, that would be all I would need to do. But to make it a quiz, I'm going to do a few things. First of all, I'm going to number it. Remember that Google Forms does not put numbers automatically, so I'm going to put a number so that when we're going over it in class later or something, then I've got something to refer to. And I'm going to click Answer Key. This is where I tell Google Forms which answer is correct. So I'm going to click this one, and I'm going to tell it to give it 1 point. And that's all I really need to do. Now I can give a second correct answer if I want to. I can always just deselect that if I want to. I can also add answer feedback. And this would be if the person is going to actually be able to see which items they got right or wrong, then they will have some information. So I could decide to just give feedback if they choose something incorrect. They won't see this feedback until after they're going over their answers. But maybe I want to explain to them why the correct answer is correct. So I could say something like, I could actually write down some sort of a hint that we learned in class about what makes the sky the color that it is. And I can also, if I want to, include a link. So I'm going to look something up. Maybe I want them to go to this article. So I'll copy that URL. I would put it right there. And then I could put learn more and add that and save. So now I've told them what answer is correct and that they should give this feedback if they get the answer incorrect. So let's take a look at this in the preview window. So far this quiz only has one question. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to check the wrong answer, green, and I'm going to submit. So I've just taken a 1-question quiz. I'm going to view my score, and it's telling me that I got number 1 wrong. I got 0 out of 1 points. It shows me what I answered, but it doesn't tell me what the correct answer was because I unchecked that. So people can't see what the right answer is in my quiz. But here's the feedback. Here's a hint about what makes the sky the color it is. There's a link right here, and that takes people over to this article. You do not have to put feedback in. That's definitely not required, but that is an option. So if I decide I want to get rid of this feedback, I can just hit the trash can, and all I'm doing is just marking an answer correct or incorrect. So once I have this question, I can add more. I can do this same type of a thing with drop-down questions, with check boxes, anything where the student would be choosing an answer. we can do the same type of thing where we identify the correct answer. It's a little weirder with these. I would stick to just multiple choice checkboxes and drop down. You can also have students write short answers in and write in paragraphs, but you have to grade those yourselves, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. But I'm going to shift over to a quiz that I already made that has more questions and show you what it looks like after students have submitted theirs. So I'm going to click to the questions. So this is a completely separate quiz. And so after I have sent it out to students, then what I get as the teacher is a summary of their responses. So this is the summary. This shows me how everyone did, the total number of points. One person got 2 out of 5, one got 3 out of 5, 2 of them got 4 out of 5, and so on. It shows me their names, and this is an overview of how people answered. So for example, this one, 3 students answered this one correct, and 2 of them got it wrong. But they both chose the same wrong answer, so that will tell me something as a teacher about maybe something I need to reteach. I can also look at individual responses if I click on individual. So this is Danny Doe's quiz, and he got a 3 out of 5, and so it shows me which ones he got right and which ones he got wrong. And so I can go through them. Up here, this is another person, Ruby Thomas. She got a 4 out of 5. Becca Sampson got a 5 out of 5. So that's how I can look at their scores. Another way that I can look at their scores is by viewing them in sheets. Google will create a spreadsheet with the student responses. It's got their last name and first name. It's got the date and time when they took it, and then here's their score. So the last thing I'm going to look at is how you would actually score items that Forms doesn't score itself. So I've added another multiple choice question just to make my quiz a little bit longer. I've got 2 questions. Each one is worth a point. And now I'm going to add a short answer question. So we'll add a question. I'm going to change it to let's change it to a paragraph. I could do short answer too. So this would be question 3. And let's say I actually have a good question there, and it's going to be a paragraph. I'm going to click answer key, but there really is no way to tell Google what the correct answer is. You're just going to give this a point value. So I'm going to say that this is a 3-point question. Okay, I click edit question to get out of there. So I am now going to take this quiz as a student, and then I will show you what it looks like on the teacher end when it's done. Okay, so now it looks like I've got one response here. So when I click on responses, one person took it and they got a 1 out of 5. I've got the name, I've got the answer, I've got the answer that was incorrect. So I'm showing you this just so that you can see the extended response here. So here's how I would grade that. I would go into individual. So it shows that that person got it wrong. And now this is marked wrong only because I have not actually scored it myself. So I'm going to give points to that now. I can even add individual feedback, and I can click save. And what that does is it changes the score. Notice that this is still marked wrong. This is something that Google automatically does. If the person did not get the full amount of points, it just marks it as wrong. So that's something to prepare your students for, that they're going to have it marked wrong. That just means they lost some points on it. And now I'm going to click release score. That email is checked, so I click send emails and release. That may be a long list if it's a big group of students. And then I'll show you what that email looks like on the student end. It says score released quiz. So I get my score, and then I can click view, and it shows me exactly what I did. And it also shows that feedback that I got. Now that could obviously be much longer and more detailed, but this is what the results look like. So that's just a basic overview of how you can create a quiz with Google Forms.